Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel English Literature. Today I am going to talk about Shakespearean Sonnet. You must go through the video that discuss the general features of sonnet as a genre, and it will be more helpful then to understand Shakespearean Sonnet. And in that video I have also talked about Shakespearean Sonnet in particular. Okay, what is a sonnet? A sonnet is a specific lyric poem with a form of 14 lines that has its origin in medieval Italy. So the origin of sonnet, where sonnet was first took its birth, that is Italy. Now it has a fixed rhyme scheme, mostly iambic pentameter in English, Alexandrine in France, and hendecasyllable in Italy. So sonnet has fixed rhyme scheme in particular country, in particular form, that is iambic pentameter in English, Alexandrine in France, and hendecasyllable in Italy. Origin of the sonnet. The term sonnet comes from the Italian sonetto, meaning little sound or song. Now the birthplace of sonnet is Italy, it is repeated. Italian poet Giacomo di Lentili in the early 13th century produced the initial forms of the sonnet. Now, later, Guittino di Arezzo first used the classical Italian sonnet, a strict A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, C, D, C, D rhyme scheme. So, they are the earliest patron or earliest practitioner of sonnets in Italy, and he is called the avant-garde of Italian sonnetiers. Now Dante and Petrarch, these two names are widely acclaimed and popular. They perfected the sonnet form in their sonnet cycle, Vita Nova and Canzoniere. Vita Nova and Canzoniere. Petrarch's Canzoniere and Dante's Vita Nova. Now Petrarch's beloved is Laura and Dante's Beatrice. Every sonnet cycle is centered on a beloved, maybe a dark lady or Astrophel, whoever, or Beatrice or Laura. The Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. It was invented in the 13th century. The sonnet was brought to a high form of development in the 14th century by Italian poet and humanist Francesco Petrarch, 1304 to 1374. His sonnets are dedicated to Laura, his beloved. Francesco Petrarch's influence spread the sonnet across Europe and gave his name to the traditional Italian sonnet form. And that's why Italian sonnet is also called Petrarchan sonnet. The Petrarchan sonnet characteristically treats its theme in two parts. The first 8 lines, the octave, state a problem or express tension. Its rhyme scheme is ABBA, ABBA, is that in 2 quatrains. 1 quatrains means 4 lines. Each quadrant is 4 lines. And the sextet is last 6 lines of the 14 lines that resolve the tension or answer the question. The rhyme scheme of the sextet varies. Sometimes it is CDE, CDE or CDC, CDC. Is that in 2 tercet. What is tercet? Quarter is 4 lines and tercet is, each tercet is contains 3 lines. So octave is total 8 lines and sextet is total 6 lines. Caesura. What is caesura? At the end of octave there is a halt at the continuation of the poem indicated by space or punctuation. It is called caesura. Suppose when the octave ends in that way 8 lines, suppose, and then when the sextet begin, there will be some gap or any punctuation mark. And this caesura, this halt is indicated by this halt between the continuation of the poem. It is called caesura. this halt is called caesura and it is marked by some punctuation mark or space. Now volta, what is volta? There is a turn of thought. Volta means the turn of thought. When the octave ends and sestet begins, there is a turn of thought. Suppose a question is asked in the octave. Now, in the sestet, that question is answered. And so this tension that was in the octave is resolved in the sestet. So this turn of thought is called volta. And this break is not always visible in Italian sonnets. Now we will talk about English sonnet and finally we will talk about Shakespearean sonnet gradually step by step. Now Chaucer was the first to translate a Petrarchan sonnet into, translate Petrarchan sonnets into English in his courtly romance, Troilus and Cressida, but he did not copy Petrarch's form, he renovated it. Later Thomas Wyatt and Henry Howard, the Earl of Surrey, they are credited with the introduction of Petrarchan model to English, and Henry Howard and Thomas Wyatt, they are the true creator of English sonnet. Though it is called Shakespearean sonnet, but that Shakespearean sonnet form was actually invented by Henry Howard. They gave it a new rhyme scheme and new model. They renovated that structure of the sonnet. The English sonnet has a rhyme scheme of A B A B, C D C D, E F E F, G G, 3 quatrains and a couplet. Shakespeare practiced this rhyme scheme widely in his sonnets, and it was named after him as Shakespearean sonnet, though the credit goes to Surrey, who adopted this rhyme scheme. It should be Surreyan sonnet, like that. Now Shakespearean sonnets. It was published in 1609 by Thomas Thorpe under the title Shakespearean Sonnet. Never before printed. Thomas Thorpe. The name should be Thomas Thorpe. It was published in 1609 by Thomas Thorpe under the title Shakespearean Sonnet, never before imprinted. It was the original title. Total 154 sonnets. The first 126 sonnets are addressed to a man and the rest 127 to 154 are to a dark lady. The man is referred to as Mr. W.H. And now who is Mr. W.H.? There is so many debate around this. It is assumed that Mr. W.H. is either Henry Wriothesley, Earl of Southampton, or William Herbert, 3rd Earl of Pembroke. Shakespeare dedicated his long poem Venus and Adonis to Southampton. So Shakespeare has a relationship, a good term with Southampton, Henry Wriothesley. So from this, it is assumed that maybe Mr. W.H. is Henry Wriothesley. Again, Shakespeare dedicated his first folio, that is published in 1623, to Earl of Pembroke, William Herbert. So he has also a good relation with William Herbert. So maybe Mr. W.H. is William Herbert. Dark Lady may be Mary Fitton, one of Queen Elizabeth's maids of honor. It is said that Pembroke had an affair with Fitton, who bore him a child out of wedlock. 3 principal characters of Shakespeare sonnets. The first character is I. It is obviously the poet persona. The second character is fair friend, lovely boy. These are the terms he uses, a young man, Mr. W.H. And the third character is the dark lady. Shakespeare's songs and sonnets in chronological order. You can have a look at it. Venus and Adonis, The Rape of Lucrece, Love's Martyr, and Sonnets, finally. Okay, here is the brief discussion on sonnet, the origin of sonnet, English sonnet and Shakespearean sonnet. I think it will be helpful for you.